Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today we're going to be talking about everything, everywhere, all at once. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. This is an A24 flick, and I know I've talked about them recently. I'm going to talk about them again. So, A24, they're a bit of an indie studio, nowhere near as big as, say, a Disney or Warner Brothers or Universal or Paramount or Sony. They're small scale, but they have definitely earned some clout in the last few years, with some of their movies having some success. From either box office perspective or like a awards perspective. I mean, their biggest hit is Uncut Gems, and after that, Lady Bird and Hereditary, Moonlight, Ex Machina, Midsommar, Witch, um, Disaster Artist, Farewell, Green Knight, Room, It Comes at Night, X, Lighthouse. Yeah, a lot of these movies are well received, although some would say they're a bit divisive, but even still, they definitely got people's attention. So, yeah, from like a critical standpoint, a financial standpoint, A24 has like grown in clout and respect. So, yeah, so when you like see something from A24, you're like, "Ooh, this should be interesting." Because a lot of their movies aren't super mainstream friendly. They do things differently than the average studio fare, which, makes people like, I guess makes like, movie lovers more excited. So yeah, A24's track record I would consider a pro here. So that's pro number 1. Pro number 2 is the fact that this movie is clearly like super original, and obviously, in this day and age where it feels like everything is either a sequel, a reboot, a spin-off, something else like related to another pre-established IP, to have an original movie come out not related to any of that is like the biggest like sigh of relief. Like, it's like people like they low key cherish movies like this that aren't franchise flicks. And considering, because I saw the trailer for this like when the trailer first debuted like back in December, and I was like, I didn't know what was going on. It was a wild ride. I imagine the movie itself is even wilder. And for that, it's a it's a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. So, for this movie being like original, the good type of original, I would consider that a pro. People like originality. They want to see more originality, so you got to support originality, right? So, this movie being weird, different, and original, I would consider that a pro, although there is a con to that, but I'll discuss that later. So that's pro number 2. Pro number 3, reviews for this movie are excellent. They are quite stellar. It has like a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, so how on earth is that ever a con? And then its audience score is about as high with like a 95%. So this clearly avoids the pitfall of some of A24's other movies when it comes to like audience reactions. This doesn't seem to be very divisive at all. So yeah, that's obviously a good thing. It's a bit more audience friendly than their other movies. So yeah, I consider that a pro. Good reviews, good reactions, great stuff. So that's pro number 3. Pro number 4, when it comes to direct competition, I mean, what direct competition? Like, how can you compare a movie like this to anything in the current marketplace? I mean, it's just so out there. I mean, the only movie coming out this month that's even somewhat comparable to this when it comes to how weird it is Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That doesn't come out till another 2 weeks. So yeah, when it comes to direct competition, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. This movie's all by itself, which is, a good thing. It makes it stand out a lot more. So that's a pro. So that's pro number before. Pro number five, this movie's had a very strong limited run. It started in like 10 theaters like 2 weeks ago. It made like half a million, so it got like a 50K per theater average, which is really good. It's the type of per theater average you should brag about. It's the first limited release this year to actually make an impact. And then, last week it spent like 38 theaters. It made over $1 million, 28K per theater average. So that's great. It means it's really improving. And in like only 38 theaters, it's made like over $2 million. So that's really good. I would say that's a good sign. And what's also a good sign is this Thursday previews for when it goes wide this weekend. It made like over 500K for its preview numbers, which I say is good. It's a lot more impressive than Ambulance's 700K, considering this movie's only opening like 1,200 theaters, while Ambulance's is over 3,000. Okay, so it looks a lot better. So yeah, I would consider that a pro. Strong limited run, good Thursday preview numbers for the type of movie it is. All that's good. Now we get to the cons. I guess the biggest is that this movie is, as I already said, it's weird, it's different, it's original, but not everyone is going to gravitate towards that. It might be too weird for the average audience member, the average moviegoer. They might find it too strange and they may not like it. I mean, I know this movie will definitely appeal to like the movie lover crowd, kind of like has almost like a geek energy to it, or like a real niche energy to it. So I don't know if it'll translate that well to the average mainstream moviegoer. So that's a bit of a con. That's a bit of a question mark if this movie can appeal to the normies, as they would say. So yeah, that's kind of a con. I guess another con is that this movie isn't opening super wide. It's like at 1,200 theaters, but it does seem to be stopping its Thursday preview numbers. But maybe if it does well this weekend and expands further after that, I don't know. But yeah, 1,200 theaters isn't a lot, and this movie will only go so high with such a low theater count. Although in the past, movies have done insane numbers and even smaller theater numbers. I mean, freaking Borat made like $26 million opening weekend, like in like 800 something theaters. So it can be done. It is possible. It's just not super likely. So yeah, somewhat low theater count is kind of a con. It kind of limits this movie's potential a little bit. It limits the, you know, as they say, like, oh, the sky's the limit. Well, that low theater count puts a ceiling there that everything ever all at once may not get past. So, yeah, that's a con. Can't think of anything else really. I think that's it. So, opening weekend. Okay. I'm going to be at, you know, I guess I could compare this to X, which came out last month, also from May 24. That opened with like $4 million, and that opened like in a much larger capacity than this. But this movie has a bit more going for it. I mean, its preview numbers. Let me compare it to X real quick. I could compare it to Hereditary, but that's a little much. Uh, no, not X2. We're not talking about X-Men. Great. I gotta go all the way back. Why do you have to? No, not. Mm. There was a movie called X in like 2000. What the heck? This is annoying. Why they have to make a movie that's literally one letter? That's the worst. Okay, here it is. X. Made over 4 million. What was its preview numbers? 440 million. So this movie had better preview numbers than that. So I'm going to guess that'll open a bit higher than that. I'm gonna go with $5 million. I think that's achievable enough. $5 million opening weekend for this weekend. It could do better than that, but I'm going with 5 million because I want to be cautiously optimistic. And then its total will be, I don't know, man. It could be 20 million as far as I know. Maybe more than that. Again, it's hard to predict, but that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm sticking with. So yeah, that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now there's one more movie to talk about and this weekend, and you all know what it is. Sonic the Hedgehog number 2. That's what we're going to be talking about next. And that'll be it for the weekend. And then after that, next week I got do a midweek prediction for Father Stew. And then that Friday I do Fantastic Beasts 3. That should certainly be a video. And then after that, a bunch more movies: Bad Guys, Northman, Bearable Weight of Massive Talent. Then at the end of the month, I do Memory, and then that's it for April, and then we off to the summer season. So stay tuned for all those videos. But anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? I got playlists on the homepage with all previous uh, prediction videos I made this year. So if you want to watch all those, go right ahead. Or any of the others I've done the past few years, just go to the playlist tab. You'll find the movies. There's the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Um, Never talked about Everything Everywhere All at Once ever. So yeah, but if you want to watch any of the past canceled episodes I've done, there's 114 episodes now. And the most recent one, I talked about two A24 movies getting summer release dates. One of them now has a trailer. It was like Marcel the Shell with shoes on and bodies, bodies, bodies. So you want to learn more about that, go watch episode 114. You can go watch that and all the others in chronological order. Just binge watch the whole thing. Do that. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. I just did March recap yesterday. April recap will come out right before Doctor Strange 2, so stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.